Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jocelyn. Welcome. Sorry for my hair. It's a little messy right now. But today I have a book review for you guys. And it's an exciting one because I'm going to be reviewing Every Missing Girl by Leanne Kale Sparks. And let me just say, 5 out of 5 stars. Just saying. So if you guys want to know more about this book, then keep on watching. So like I mentioned earlier, I am going to be reviewing Every Missing Girl by Leanne Kale Sparks. This is a thriller book, and hands down is probably one of the best thriller books I have read. Just to clarify, this is a second book to, I don't know if it's a series or what it's going to be, but it is the second book in the Kendall Beck series or duology. I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be. I just know that it's the second book, and I did not read the first book. I didn't even know there was a first book. I do want to say thanks to NetGalley and Crooked Lane Books for giving me an arc to read this book. It was amazing and I loved it. So our main character is Kendall Beck. She is an FBI special agent specializing in trafficking, mostly like children and young girls. Then we have our male lead, who is Adam Taylor. He is a detective for the Denver PD. So they both met in the first book and they became close friends. There is spoilers in this second book from the first one, so I highly recommend you read the first one because you're gonna find out the whole plot of the first book in the second book, and I'm just like, what? Both POVs, so Adam and Kendall's. It starts off, you know, a regular day, but Adam actually calls up Kendall because he is doing a case on a robbery. So it's a double case that actually ends up intertwining each other. Kendall's a little like suspicious because she's like, why are you calling me up? Like, it makes no sense. Like, I have nothing to do with like what you do. And he tells her that there's actually a girl, a young girl, like I would say like a 10-year-old who was found, a 10 or 14-year-old, between those two, who was actually found that was missing a few months prior, and they found her, so that's how she gets involved into that case. From there they start investigating where the girl was, who took her, how she got taken, when was it, what time, like if she remembers the location. Like, she starts asking her all these questions, right? And she mentions that it was these two older people, a lady and a man, like older, like literally elders, who, you know, like came to her house. The elder lady was like, you know, my dog is missing, I think it went to your backyard, can I go get him? She was by herself in that house because her mom, I don't know where her mom was. Her mom was not there, so they don't even mention where the mom was. But she lets them in and she doesn't see the dog and she doesn't hear the dog, but when she turns around, the elder guy was already inside the house, and they capture her and they take her, and from there she doesn't remember anything because she was drugged. That's where the case starts off. But then Adam and Kendall go to Adam's niece's hockey game because Kendall becomes part of his family because of what happens in the first book. So she really doesn't have anyone, and so she becomes part of their family. So she goes to Adam's niece's hockey game with them, and both of them realize that Adam's brother and sister-in-law are acting a little weird. They're acting a little suspicious. Like, he describes them as always being lovey-dovey. They're never separated. They don't argue, and like they're just, you know, like the perfect marriage. But that day specifically, like, things were off, and so they say nothing. They continue on with the game, and the game ends, and you know, they go wait for Frankie, which is the name of Adam's niece, and they're waiting for her, and they're realizing that everyone is leaving and there's really no one there. And it gets to the point where the manager of that location is locking up, and they're kind of being a little sus because they're like, okay, well, where is she? Because everyone's pretty much gone. Adam and his brother Mike go running to the lockers looking for her, but when they go in, it is completely dark, as in no one is there anymore. So they try looking everywhere, can't find her. Poppy is Adam's sister-in-law. She and Kendall are looking around the whole arena looking for them, and there's no one there. Like, there's no one there. Adam and Mike go outside the back where the coaches park to see if they find the coach, and they do find him there. However, he acts like if he doesn't see both of them there, even though they are described that they are literally right next to the freaking door and they could bang on it and they could literally hear you and see you, and he is acting like, nope, like, I don't see you, I don't hear you, you're not there. And so he books it and leaves, and so they're all like, well, that's pretty fucking sus, right? So Kendall and Adam decide to start an investigation because it's a little suspicious that they can't find their niece, that she's all of a sudden gone, and that the coach does not want to speak to them and is acting like he did not see them. So they call up the police, they report it. A missing child has missing for the, you know, like an hour at this point. So they all go to Mike and Poppy's house. Kendall starts an investigation with the whole family. So she starts interviewing Poppy first. And Poppy is hiding a lot of things. Kendall just, like, the reason why I like this book is because you could see Kendall's thoughts. So she speaks her thoughts without, like, saying them to her, to Poppy. Asking her questions like, what did you guys do this morning? What time did you wake her up? Like, was she acting normal? Was she acting strange? Were you and Mike okay? Poppy is, like, lying up her butt. Like, she is lying. Poppy is saying that she woke her up fine. She was getting ready for school, and that she did not see Mike at all that morning. However, Kendall is just saying this is bullshit. Like, she is lying and lying and lying. So then she interviews Mike, and Mike tells them the truth. Mike says that they've been fighting, that Frankie and Poppy have been in arguments, like, you know, because she's turning into a teenager, so like it's just like they're not the best right now. And she heard Poppy waking up Frankie, like they were yelling, and that Poppy did see Mike, but Poppy denied that she saw him. So they're kind of like, they're a little more suspicious of her because they're like, okay, why is she lying about all of this? And then Mike confesses and says, I think she's having an affair. And so it gets so good because it goes from them assuming that it's Poppy who's doing all of this, and they found out that she has an attorney, a family attorney. So they're assuming, oh my god, she's gonna divorce Mike. She's lying to Frankie, saying maybe that the dad died and that she couldn't see him, and she's probably kidnapping her. But, you know, obviously you need to read to find out if that is true. They go and interview the coach as well. The moment they walk in, it smells like pot, it smells like weed, like it just smells. And so they're asking him all these questions. Where were you? Did you argue with them? Like, why did you act like you didn't see them? Like, all these questions, and he's denying everything. He says, oh, I had the music very loud, like I couldn't hear them, which was not true at all. They're asking all these questions, all these people, they're asking them all these questions. They even ask Frankie's best friends. One of them is lying. The other one, who's not even her best friend, but is the only girl in that hockey team with her, and that girl Ruby tells them everything. It tells them how she caught the coach selling weed to like the minors, all the kids that are playing, and that Frankie was gonna confront him, and so they assume that he was the one who kidnapped her. So they take him in, interview him, and then they also interview the manager, because turns out the manager of that place is the one who was dealing, he's the drug dealer or whatever. And so it is so freaking good. I think I'm gonna leave it to that, because from there, like, you need to like read it, because there's so much detail in it. There is so much detail into this book that it's so freaking good that you need to read yourself, because like being in that moment and like, you know, turning every page and trying to figure out all these clues, and then them making you believe something but it's not true. It's like so crazy. It's so good. It's fast paced. You get into it like very easily. Like, there was not one moment that I was bored. Like, not one moment I was bored. Like, I was so into it. Like, there is so many suspects, and it's crazy how they could have easily found Frankie from the very beginning if only one person would have said something. One specific person would have said that little detail, they would have found Frankie from the very beginning. Like, it's crazy. And the thing that I like about this, it's like, it's not a crazy plot twist. It's not one of those plot twists that you have to go back and be like, does this even make sense? Like, no, like, it just all like flows so good. It's a very good writing style. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, it was so easy to read. Like, I was able to imagine it in my head. There was also some like sarcastic, like humorous moments that are more like that they're not super hilarious, but they're like moments where just like, oh, that's funny, like, you know. And then I love the chemistry that Adam and Kendall have, because it seems like they were best friends from a very long time. Like, they get along so well. She tries to like get him not involved in that Frankie case because it's obviously family. So there's so much that he says in his mind that he's just like, you know what, she's right, like I can't get involved, even though he does get involved, but like it's like so much that goes on. The other thing that I like about it, that it gets to the point every time. You are not reading and reading to get to a point. Like, you are says something and then like maybe 1 or 2 pages later it gets to the point of like what they were mentioning. So I'm just like, that is the best part, because I hate there's like one point and then they don't mention again later in the future, and it's just like, well, what was the point of you saying that if you're not gonna like mix it in or like say it later? You get me? I don't know. But it was such a good book. I highly recommend you guys read it. Definitely read the first book. I have to go check out the first book because clearly I need to read that one, because there is huge spoilers like in the second book. They literally tell you the whole plot from the first book. So if you don't want to know about that, then just read the first book and then the second book. But let me know what you guys thought about it, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!